Hello and welcome to Onesies, the podcast of one season wonders and blunders. My name's Andrew,
My name's Emily.
and we are here for the 13th
Woo,
episode of Automan.
we did it.
What is it called again? Club 10?
Club 10.
Club 10, which is a club on an island somewhere, Brighton Isle,
Somewhere.
where the LAPD does not seem to have the jurisdiction they had when they went to Jamaica earlier. And their police chief is a British guy, which confused me at the beginning.
Mhm.
We'll get to it, but I thought he was actually like a British Secret Service, but no, he's just a British guy. He's not important. So, do you have three things?
I do. We're going to go dad bod. We're going to go hot cop on cop action. And we're going to talk about Wally and Roxanne's confusing relationship.
Okay. So, we will wrap my Roxanne tells her friends about Wally into the confusing relationship.
Okay.
So, mine will be Anyone Seen Cursor? Time to Tango, which I can't believe you didn't pull.
I saved it for you.
Then we will talk about how Heather McNair has gotten to the point of Roxanne just acts like she's watching the show happen around her in real time and makes faces appropriately. Jack does some of the same thing, but at this point, Heather McNair, Roxanne, is just like, this is so stupid. And she's just looking around like, are you seeing how stupid this is? Like,
yeah. Jack at least like has fun with it.
Yeah.
But Roxanne is just like, what am I doing here?
She just like takes a step back and she's just like, do you see the show? Like, why are you watching? She could break the fourth wall every time. Lucille Ball made us all come here. She's right there. She unbuttoned his shirt two more times. Okay, so it starts at the resort, which is a combination of stock footage and it appears to be an LA apartment complex.
That's what it looked like to me, yeah.
Not even a really nice one. No, yeah. I mean, it just looks like an apartment complex that has a pool.
Yep.
And everything else is implied through stock footage, including, I don't know if we'll stop on it when we get to it, lots of bikini butts again.
Lots of bikini babes.
We're Automan's a family show. There's bikini babes for dad, and there's Chuck Wagner cutting a rug for mom.
Yeah.
But it starts with a chase with the security team, and you can tell something's wrong because they have guns.
Yes.
And it seems weird that a security team would have guns. However, I saw transit cops with guns this morning in Denver. So transit bus and train cops who aren't on trains. And the kid looked like he was 20. And I'm like,
does it make you feel safe?
20?
Does it make you feel safe?
Hey, where's he not shooting up, right? So whatever. If he needs to wrap his hand around something firm like that, I guess you got to do you. But security tracks down Philippe and Laura.
Oh, right.
Looking for stones. And they bust in on Laura when she's leaving a message. And we don't know who she's leaving a message for.
Right.
But we see the answering machine pick up. The message is going to be incredibly... Wait a second.
What?
I just remembered the solution to the riddle that is supposed to be pretty simple from the first scene, but is not. Okay. The whole case is a riddle of finding missing information.
Yeah.
And the first few scenes imply that it's not going to be that hard, but it actually has nothing to do with Wally by the end.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get to it.
I've got that written down. Don't worry.
Okay. So we cut to Wally's apartment. It's his still new apartment, right? They did not go back to his original apartment on the back lot for the final episode, unfortunately. Automan is working on his golf swing. This will actually be important, and it has some of the worst special effects
Yes.
for their weird composites. Like, Automan hits the ball, and the ball goes the wrong way, but then comes to a full stop, changes direction, goes a bit, stops, changes direction, goes into whatever he's putting it into.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the shadows, if not the plant on the table, move. So it's very clearly bad special effects. Like somebody was just like, they didn't pick us up. Fuck this. So that was the other thing we discovered before we started recording. This episode aired August 25th, 1984, which means I was 6 years old when this episode aired, and I did not watch it. But it also means that we are coming up on the 38th anniversary of the last episode of Automan. More than time for the relaunch, for the remake.
Absolutely.
But, okay, so then Automan makes a joke about how he might have to impersonate a doctor someday. So that's why he's practicing his golf. Hey, my note right after that is, better Chuck than lately. Like, we are back into Chuck Wagner being charming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
we are through him reading lines that were written by... Okay. This is... Okay, so Roxanne calls Wally and says, meet me at my friend's house in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
How far can you get in 10 minutes in LA?
Yeah. Couple miles. Just depends on where you are.
Okay.
And what time of day it is.
Your job is to go find Wally's apartment on the wharf and see how far you can get in 10 minutes.
That looks like it's in, looks like it's right on the ocean. So maybe he could get to Wilshire, which, I mean, if he's in Santa Monica, he could get to Wilshire, but it would be like 15 or 20 minutes.
But she's at the police station too, right?
Yeah.
Right. So anyway.
Is she?
So they're going to go meet. I don't remember. I think so, yes, because they get into the elevator together.
Yeah.
And so Roxanne explains she's house sitting for her friend Laura, the travel writer, who we've already met, who is in trouble with Philippe, the Frenchman in the leather jacket, the very 80s. Jacket. And so they're going up on the elevator, and someone's searching the apartment. And she says that her friend left a message on the machine in her own apartment where Roxanne is house sitting, and the message is actually for Wally. And this is where I made my note. Roxanne tells her friends about Wally. I don't know that I mean, maybe, but they don't seem like that close a friend that Roxanne would be like, there's this guy at work who I keep taking my underwear off and sitting on his lap, and he doesn't do anything. What should I do, Laura? She's like, what? Is he into computers?
Yeah, that's confusing. Oh God, I hated this Laura character so much.
We'll get to why her surviving doesn't make much sense, but yeah.
I feel really, really bad saying it, but she was such a bad actress, and she looked very familiar, and I searched her, and she's been on some soap operas that I've watched. And, I have respect for soap opera acting because it's capital A acting, and, they can do other things, but some of them have gone on to do other things, which are not bad. But she was just terrible on this. And she got mixed up with the wrong crowd, and
Frenchman
seemingly unnecessarily, but there's no explanation of their relationship or anything. So it's just weird to me that she's all of a sudden got this information, this super secret information that she's getting kidnapped and held hostage for. It seems unrealistic.
On Automan?
Well,
this is based on a true story. This is based on the true story.
Only the pilot was.
Walter Nebeker.
Only the pilot was.
That's right. Only the pilot was. So Wally gets his ass kicked but he does punch the guy a couple times.
Yeah.
Roxanne says to him, "You take a pretty mean punch," which, I was like, oh, I guess we know who's top and who's not in that relationship anyway, but whatever. So they go and they tell the captain, and Jack is there, and Jack doesn't say anything during this meeting. I didn't even realize he was there until the
Yeah.
end. But they go and tell the captain, who's like, "Oh, you can't go look, man. We're busy. We got things going on. Just call the cops over there." And so, but you would think the assault and robbery in LA would have the captain at least want to investigate that, but whatever.
Yeah.
So Roxanne's like, "Well, I'm going to go." And he's like, "You can't go. I don't have any backup." And they're like, "What about Wally?" And he's like, "Oh, I can get rid of Nebish for a week." And Wally's like, "Nebeker." And he's like, "I don't care."
Yeah.
So
They have that weird exchange every single episode, and I'm so glad to be through with it. Where it's supposed to be like charming and funny and cute, like a little inside joke where you're insulting somebody, calling them potentially an ethnic slur, and everybody kind of giggles about it and brushes it off. And also you're forcing
what do you
you're forcing Wally to take leave to go be a police officer.
I wanted to mention that
Yeah.
too. Yes.
Because he's like, you've got leave
you've
coming
got some
up.
vacation coming.
I thought that was really weird and stupid, and I'm glad to be done with the captain. And I'm glad he didn't have a lot to do in this episode.
He did not have a lot to do in this episode. He whines a little bit later on. What do you think LAPD officers actually called their Jewish colleagues in 1984? Then Wally goes home to pack, and Automan has hacked into Club 10's computer and set up their fake account because Club 10 refers to the good lookingness of the guests, not of the staff. Well,
not
I
of
guess
the guests
Jerry's
either.
okay. Not of the guys.
No,
Guys.
not of the women either. I mean, again, I don't mean to like be negative here, but it's okay to not be beautiful. And these very thin women in bikinis.
And go to Club 10.
These very thin women in bikinis are not the most attractive people I've ever seen. And they're just hanging out being skinny. That's cool. That's cool.
At their apartment complex.
And none of the men were attractive. Like, how did that police officer get in, who we'll talk about later? This, 60-year-old man in a weird tracksuit.
Barry Otto from Mad Max 2 and 3. So, but then Automan has registered under his alias, Otto J. Man. What does the J stand for?
What does the J stand for? I was wondering that too.
I don't think we've ever heard.
Mm-mm.
There are all sorts of options. I don't know. I don't want to go down the line of German names that start with J. Anyway, so Wally, because he's ugly, is going to go as Otto's valet. And so that's when Automan tells him that it's Club 10 and not even a 9 could make it in Wally. But let's face it, I'm a 10.
Yeah.
Chuck Wagner.
And Heather McNair.
How you doing?
And Heather McNair's a 10, so she's got no problem. She's thin and she's actually pretty, so she's good.
Okay. So now we cut to the diamond. Do they get there already? And they get there and they're checking in, and we meet the bad guy who establishes that he was the one who broke into the apartment.
Yes.
And he's with his sidekick, Jerry, who's the buxom
entertainment director of the resort or something.
Entertainment director. Yeah, I was trying to remember what the position was called on Love Boat. I don't want to talk too much about her cleavage because there was just a big deal that the New York Times was attacking a woman's cleavage. Okay. And then it didn't go. It went poorly and comes off as a gay white woman being racist to a gay black woman. So there you go, as the New York Times is wont to do. So, but they're going to watch Otto and Wally and Heather McNair and Roxanne do they're going to let them lead them to the diamonds.
Yeah.
Okay. So then we get some more butt insert shots. And I think this is the one where it's like a 40-second shot. Like, did this butt model know that they were even being filmed? Like, it is.
It looks like it could have been shot.
Producer's personal stash.
Yeah. It looks like it could have been shot, right? down at my pool, like in the middle of the day on a Saturday.
Yeah. Like, but then Wally can't handle the lady. He sees them and he's just like, whoa!
Roxanne tells him to redirect his gaze, focus on the task
Calm
at
yourself
hand.
down. Remember why we're here.
Which I thought was weird that she was as okay as she was with her boyfriend, like having a full cartoon wolf moment with that bikini lady. She seemed like maybe she was a little bit jealous, and that was what her redirect your attention thing was, but she seemed pretty okay with it. It was more like, stop being a creep and just let's get on with what we're doing here.
Well, Wally cannot handle himself. So then somebody's like, well, where's Cursor?
Oh.
Cursor's in
for
the
no reason.
Changing room.
Okay, so there's no reason for this scene except to have a creepy Cursor scene.
Cursor's a sex pest.
Yeah,
he's a sex pest.
There's literally no reason except to highlight the fact that Cursor is a sex pest.
Yes.
So Cursor is caught checking out women.
You don't get to make children's shows in 1984. You can't make shows for young boys unless you like having a sex pest inanimate object in it, obviously.
Okay, so Cursor's caught checking out women in the sauna and chastised briefly by Automan. The end. End scene.
The end. How? No, because this is where Jerry introduces herself to Otto and finds him captivating or whatever.
So they were checking in at the check-in desk, but then she comes and takes them to their room? Isn't that where they were headed? I don't understand. I've never been to some exclusive resort for hotties, so I don't know how it works.
Exactly. You don't know how it works. But this is also where I noticed that Wally's buttons were down, and we got some Nebuchadnezzar and this Nebuchadnezzar chest fur.
This outfit that he's wearing really highlights his dad bod. Like, he's not fat. He's got skinny little arms dangling out of this weird pastel colored shirt and a little paunch in the front. And I was like, I don't know. Roxanne, I'm questioning your sanity at this moment. Like, why have you ever had interest in this guy? He's smart.
Did Heather McNair ever work after this?
Or was she like, I don't ever want to do this again? Until 82 to 92, I think. She just did little things, I think. But I just don't understand it.
Want to make out with
This was her first acting. This was her first acting role, though.
That would explain lots.
She was a model.
Okay, so Jerry tells them that Laura and Philippe are off on a cruise, and that's just what happens here, is that people fall in love with their fellow tens and go off on cruises.
Philippe's
and come back
not a 10.
They're sea-bound.
Philippe is not a 10.
No. But this is where we establish the cop in the tracksuit is following them.
Yes.
But we don't
find out he's
yet.
a cop. Yeah, we find out he's a cop later.
And so when Jerry's getting Otto into his room, she says, ciao. And he says,
We've already ate, thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, so stupid.
Well, excuse me, Emily. I'm sorry she didn't think to say what you would have, which is, would you like seconds? Boom! Boom! Not a lot of Otto naughty in this, unfortunately.
No.
The show's really gone downhill since we were wondering if Otto was getting lucky during the episodes. Okay, so then they're checking in and figuring things out, talking about how Jerry's an obvious liar, and then how Wally was the one who saw the guy following them, and then Automan walks through a wall to look in the other room, and that's it. But then we cut to Laura and
the other room. The other room is Laura's room. I don't know that we established that they knew that she was right next door. And
yes, they're right next. They put them next door to Laura presumably so they can find the diamonds for them.
Yes,
Maybe doesn't.
presumably.
We see no communication between Jerry, the bad guy, and the actual staff.
Yeah.
Like the security guards are part of their world, but not the actual staff of the resort. So not a lot of vermissilitude in this one. Vermissilitude or whatever. Vermissilitude. Do you know how that phrase got into the film bro vernacular?
No.
I don't even know if film bros know it. It's from the back of the Superman the movie box cover from back in the day. And in the 90s, when they did the director's cut and Richard Donner was talking a lot, he brought it back and it got ingrained into film bro culture.
Oh.
So there you go. There's
you.
its origin. You're welcome for that useless information. Listen to my podcast. Okay. So Wally and Roxanne are looking around Laura's room for the clue. They can't find it. And so they're going to go do something else. But
Automan finds her diary and decides that there could be clues in the things that she has done in the 7 days that she's been there. So he is tasked with going off and in one day eating all of the food she ever ate, drinking all of the things she ever drank, and doing all of the activities she ever did. Which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny. But it's poorly executed. Yeah,
because he doesn't. Yeah, like he orders all the food, but he doesn't eat it all or something, right? Like, there's also what does he do when it gets to night 2? Fuck a Frenchman. Like he's just like,
and then
do you have any Frenchmen around?
Yeah, there's that 17 cups of coffee and a double espresso, except they say espresso, which is one of my pet peeves.
The joke would have been if he'd actually eaten the food, but that's in a couple scenes.
Yeah.
So they're leaving, and Jerry is then talking to her buddy, the bad guy with the bowl cut, and
Dennis Cole.
This is actually the most complicated shot in an Automan, I think. He's on the second floor of the
apartment complex
filming location.
Yeah.
And they actually moved the camera along the balcony to reposition a shot over the balcony. It is the most impressive camera move in all of Automan.
Yeah.
So Jerry's going to pick up on the big one. So she's going to follow Automan. Sadly, this does not turn into like episode 2 or 3 when he turns France Nguyen away.
Yeah.
It's weird that they have the same basic setup in 2 episodes. Anyway, so Wally goes and confronts the tracksuit guy. They exchange IDs.
This is my hot cop on cop action. Wally jumps the guy, knowing that he's following him. Wally jumps the guy and is like holding him around the neck and flashing his ID with his other hand in front of the guy's face, his badge. And it was like the weirdest fetish thing I could think of is these 2 like plain looking guys copying each other. And like the way Wally was holding him looked a little sexy. If you're a Tom of Finland follower, you might think that's pretty sexy. I just thought it was really awkward the way that was handled. You're a cop. Oh, you're a cop. And we're embracing lovingly.
And then they refer to each other by name because they saw the IDs and stuff like that. I'm just like, that's not a great way of introducing a character's name.
No.
But this is where Wally finds out about the diamond smuggling.
Yes.
So now Wally is caught up. So now we cut to Automan in the restaurant, where he explains that he is trying to fit 7 days of vacation into 1, and he's getting all the food and all the espresso, but he's not eating any of it. But then it's time to tango, and we get
because Jerry shows up.
Chuck Wagner.
Because Jerry shows up.
He's gonna.
Yeah.
Because Jerry's there. Yeah. And so they're going to go tango, and it's Chuck Wagner doing all of his own dancing for 2-3 minutes. Chuck's a pretty good tango dancer, I guess. But then what happens? We get some more. Oh, yeah.
The boyfriend calls her. I don't know if he's her boyfriend.
Yep.
The other bad guy calls her. Is that where it is next?
Yep, the other guy calls her, and she complains that she's trying to keep up with Automan. He never gets tired.
I wish it was under different circumstances she said that. That would be hilarious.
Yes, and it never goes there. It's quite unfortunate. But then we cut to Philippe and
Laura.
And Philippe is going to stage a breakout. The guard is playing with a Rubik's Cube.
Oh, I didn't notice.
I don't know if you noticed that. Yeah. Very 1984. So while Philippe is able to take out the guard, club guy, Bowl Cut catches him and shoots him. No one hears the gunshots, and it's weird leaving What's-Her-Face alive.
Yes.
Because if you're just going to kill Philippe, chop off her fingers till she tells you where the fucking diamonds are. End the episode. Let's be done with this.
Yeah. What does Jerry tell the other guy later? This isn't who we are. We're not murderers. Like, literally the next scene. She's like, why did we have to kill this guy? We're not murderers. And he's like, well, we are now. You're only not a murderer until you murder somebody.
Exactly. And then you are. Deal. Come on now. So then this is where we cut to Automan getting golf lessons. Such a bad scene because he's getting golf lessons from the club pro, and he's showing the guy up intentionally. We find that out after Wally and Roxanne get there, and we've already had the scene with the golf pro. Like, it's so, yeah.
Can I tell you that I was hoping, when I first saw that golf pro, I was hoping that it was David Leisure, but the show's just not funny enough for it to be him. But I saw him and, like, just briefly, I was like, oh my God, is that a young David Leisure? Oh, I was so excited. Oh, how disappointing.
Yep. No.
I love him.
So they're going to walk to the green, and the golf pro's got to take the cart so they have a chance to talk.
Yes.
And they're going to pretend they have the diamonds and basically put targets on their backs for the bad guys. This is their great plan. There is no Roxanne quibbling about Automan helping in this episode.
No, none.
One of the big improvements to her character, in addition to Heather McNair acting like she's on a shitty show and watching her life go by, is that she no longer whines about Automan doing the job. But they're going to need some cash. And so they need the money to flash around so everybody knows that they got the diamonds.
Yeah.
Automan says, don't worry, I'll handle that. And then he goes to play golf. I thought he was going to hustle golf.
Yeah.
He does not. The next scene is them at an ATM machine. And this is where Heather McNair is just like looking around, like embarrassed of her job.
Yeah.
Automan talks to the ATM and it makes a business loan. Why Cursor couldn't have made them cash like they've done before. They did an episode where they went to casinos and left holographic money there that presumably disappeared, and we never got to see it. So, but this time, Automan's flirting with the ATM. She's going to give them cash. They have to pick it up off the ground. It's very silly.
It's a comedy scene. I mean, it's just for the comedy. And for Heather McNair to kind of create this new world for herself where she's questioning her own existence.
Yes, it is very not Truman Show, but it's like she's trapped in the show. Okay, this is where we cut to the scene with the captain, which is the laziest acting I've seen from Gerald S. O'Loughlin on this whole show,
Yeah.
which is saying something. He's like laying back in his chair.
With his feet
He's like,
kicked
I
up.
got a call.
Doesn't he have his feet kicked up? Yeah.
I think so. I was looking at the family photo behind
Yes,
him,
I was too.
imagining the terrible lives of that family. Just the terrible lives. Oh, okay. So now the tracksuit cop has called to complain about Wally. And the captain blames all of this on Jack, who is sitting there going, why the hell are you blaming me? To which the captain's like, don't contradict me.
Jack did not, as you mentioned, did not say a word in that scene.
Not a word.
He didn't say a word until Wally and Roxanne left, I think. Maybe he didn't even say anything after that. He just kind of laughed when called him Nebuchadnezzar or Nebish again. Ugh, sorry. He didn't say a word. Yeah, so Jack's getting blamed.
Not a word.
And he gets sent by the captain to go rescue Wally before he trips over a gun and kills somebody. Did you catch that? It's like, whatever. It was so stupid. I'm so glad he's not in this anymore.
Wally has solved 12 amazing mysteries at this point. Maybe 13. Maybe there were 2 in an episode. He saved Jack from being kidnapped at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, okay. So then we cut to them living it up in the resort
restaurant,
which looks like a hotel restaurant, but just okay.
Yeah.
And some ladies come over to see Automan. He gives them fake jewels or diamonds. There's Beat It playing in the background.
Yep.
And according to IMDb, it is the actual Michael Jackson, but I don't know if I don't think it
was.
Maybe it was when it first aired, but I'm sure it's a cover now. So, okay, so this is actually a funny scene for your Roxanne and Wally thing, because some lady we've never seen before comes up to Wally and says, there you are, let's dance.
I was wondering if that was the one from the pool. I mean, we didn't see her face, but she had blonde hair, and this woman has blonde hair as well. I don't know. Yeah.
Roxanne does not seem to care that he's going off to dance either.
My thought on that is maybe they're polyamorous. Maybe they have an open relationship of some kind.
Hopefully Roxanne has given up on this business. So we get a couple kisses for Otto from the ladies where they get the buzz kisses.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so while Automan is horny and Wally is dancing, Roxanne's actually working.
Wally is dancing very badly. On purpose? Maybe he just can't dance. It was so stupid. And I could watch it in short clips.
What can Desi Arnaz Jr. do?
I can watch it in short bits over and over and over again and continue to laugh. It was so fucking dumb. Anyway, we don't see it for very long. Yes, Roxanne goes to do work. I don't know exactly what she's doing. She's wandering around by herself outside and gets kidnapped. That's what you get for leaving Automan. Kidnapped.
But she does fight back.
Yes.
Yeah. So she fights back against the guy. So in the restaurant, there was a bad guy who was watching them throw the money around, and he called Bullcut to tell them that they need to
get her.
That he's going to get him. Yeah. So then Automan and Wally team up after the dance is done. And they're like, oh shit, where's Roxanne? And Automan's like, oh, I don't know, but I got to go. I got to bounce. It's time for me to recharge. I'm tired after 2 days.
And Wally says essentially, don't res out on me, bro, which made me laugh really hard. He's like, I hate it when you res out like this all the time. And it's like, what? It's so weird.
Totally rezzed out.
Don't res out on me, bro.
Okay, so then we have another room search scene. Wally chasing the guy out. Oh, this is where Wally gets beat up outside.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Wally gets beat up outside, and it's a lot of Desi Arnaz Jr. doing his own stunts. So
is it?
Like for the last episode, yeah. he was willing to do a bunch of stuff himself. So then he wakes up the next morning in a sand trap next to a body holding a gun, and the
Mercer.
tracksuit cop is there.
Yeah.
Mercer. He arrests him, takes him to jail. And Wally's like, you can't think I'm this stupid to have done this. And Mercer's like, I don't think you're this stupid, but I think you're going to get yourself killed if you aren't,
More
in
careful.
protective custody in my jail. We need a real cop like Jack Curtis. So then we cut to Roxanne and Laura captive together, and Bullcut explains this also doesn't resolve. Bullcut explains that if they don't get the diamonds, whoever they were selling them to is going to kill Bullcut tonight.
Yeah.
So it's not just that they need the money, it's that Bullcut and Jerry are in danger from their buyer.
Yeah.
The buyer's never going to come into it. Never going to come into it.
Never comes.
So then Wally's in jail with an annoying drunk. Automan shows up and says he's sorry he's late, but the generator was stimulating, which is sexual. They were doing things. I mean, you find a stimulating generator. What do you think Automan's going to do? So they have to get out of there. Automan's like, I can't break you out of jail, Wally. You programmed me to fight crime, not engage in it.
Yeah, but you just talked to an ATM and had it spit money at you, comically. That's fine.
But Wally's like, come on, Otto. And Otto's like, okay, you know the procedure. Slip into my body. I miss when they talked about how, like, I can't even remember the dirty stuff they said the first few times they did that. But they walk out through the jail wall. The drunk is convinced that he's seeing things now. Yeah. They get in the auto car, and then they have a catch up with things that, Wally's they're filling each other in. But then there's a police chase. My note is time for one last bad car chase. So Automan can't get away from the police jalopy.
Right.
In the auto car. They have to do a whole thing to fuck with the guy. And they're going to fuck with the second car chase later too, but not good. So they park at the other thing is Wally's like, I can't just go to the resort. I'm a, wanted man. They just go to the resort.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And Automan is not in disguise. The valet
that's right. The valet freaks out. Yeah.
Freaks out. He does not get turned on like the ladies did in the strip episode.
Yeah. And the auto car goes away. Cursor takes the auto car away in front of him too. So he's completely freaked out. Does not know what's going on.
Very, very weird. So then Automan calls Cursor to make him a suit, and then they go in. Now, the thing about Automan calling Cursor is the logic seems to be that Cursor has to obey Automan, but only when it's like Automan has given Cursor permission to be a sex pest as long as he comes back on time. But otherwise, it seems like Cursor should be Automan's assistant.
Yeah.
At all times. Makes no sense. Okay. Now we get to the room search. Another room search. Somebody's searching the room. Who's searching the room? Who could it possibly be? And I'm like, it's got to be Jack.
Yeah.
And it's Jack. So this is where Wally tells Jack what's really going on. Automan, does he see Automan at this point? I think he does. He sees Agent Man at this point. And Jack just is like, what the fuck is he doing? Are you guys on a vacation together? And you're just doing they're a throuple. It's a throuple. Okay.
I didn't think about that. Yep.
What's up? Throuple.
Love it.
Okay. So this is where they find the message, the code for Wally finally. So we are in the end of the episode, and we are finally getting around to the message that she left at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah.
It was not a message on the phone, which, would have made sense if she'd done computer shit for Wally. The coded message is on her typewriter. She typed something, destroyed it, but the imprint is still on the original ribbon. The only reason they know this is because if Roxanne came back, because they haven't confirmed that Roxanne's not off with her own Frenchman, they're going to leave her a message. Wally goes to type her a fucking message on somebody else's typewriter. What is wrong with this child? Like, this grown-ass man.
Why did it take a computer expert to decode this? There's absolutely no reason it would take a computer expert for this. It is a fucking typewriter. I don't even think it's an electric typewriter.
No, it's a manual. So Automan and Wally are gonna race to see who can decode it first. Wally's computer or Automan. But we're gonna find out what it is first because Bullcut is done with this shit. He's like, okay, Laura, you don't want to tell me what's up? That's fine. How about I kill Roxanne in 3 seconds?
Yeah.
And so Laura cracks at the last second and says, they're in the dining hall, in the aquarium. And then Bullcut's like, okay, cool. Bad security guards, take them to the other side of the island and throw them off the cliffs together.
Yeah.
Which had me waiting for a great cliff scene. We do not get
it. God
Instead, we've got, and at this point, everybody else disappears from the resort.
Mm-hmm.
There is a line, Jerry does say to Bullcut, oh, the dining room's closing in 20 minutes. This is perfect. When the dining room closes at 9, everybody disappears in the resort, apparently. So Jack's going to go look for Roxanne. Wally and Otto are going to go to the dining hall and get the stones.
Yes.
When they get there, they catch Jerry. Only then Bullcut gets the drop on them. And he's like, this is perfect. They're going to find the 3 bodies and think you guys were all fucking each other over or something. And Jerry's like, what are you talking about? 3 bodies. Obviously, of course, Automan would not be a body. And also, Automan's bulletproofness does not come into this episode at all.
No.
So the bad Bullcut's like, sorry, Jerry, a one-way split's a lot better than a two-way split, which means the security guys were getting paid out of, we're just doing it for wages, which seems like they should have had a percentage.
For wages and fucking poon. They're probably slaying. The edible kicked
in. Guess you've got some editing to do. Okay, so Jack comes in and rescues them.
Yes.
And at this point, they're like, where's Roxanne? Jerry doesn't have the villain redeem moment where she tells them. She's just like,
yeah.
I'm under arrest. I don't care.
Yeah.
So they go to catch up with the bad guys who have Roxanne. And eventually they turn it into the auto chopper. There's a little bit of Wally bitching about the car ride being too bumpy, but no great window shots, I don't think.
Yeah.
And so they chase them to the back lot because the finale is filmed on the town square on the back lot.
Yeah.
Like very fucking clearly town square on the back lot. The way they stop the car, Automan's like, what we need is a tree. And I'm like, a fallen tree in the road. Nope. It's a planted fucking like landscape tree. It's stupid.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
I'm just like, they should have done anything. Like, come on. Like the brick walls were better than this, right?
Yeah.
Like just doing a Roadrunner cartoon was better than this. So they get there. The bad guys got the girl, right? And then
so Otto does the thing for the last time where he sees through the car, says, oh, there's Roxanne. And Wally's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, they're on the floor in the back of the car. Because apparently that's how you kidnap people in these things. You don't throw them in the trunk. You put them on the floor in the back of the car. Every single person who's been kidnapped has had that fate in this.
So when the bad guys hit the tree, one of them gets knocked out.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, they ask for Automan's keys, and he's like, here you go. But he grabs the guy and he throws him through the air, and solved.
Yeah.
And then he says, I'll take my leave now. And he presumably vanishes in front of Laura.
Oh, yeah. I guess I didn't think about that.
Yeah. His job there is done. He vanishes in front of Laura. And so now at the end, we get the rundown on what the whole scheme actually was, which is that Philippe was a diamond smuggler or something, and he was in cahoots with the bad guy, with Bowl-Cut. But then he changed his mind when he met Laura, and he was going to run off with the money, much like the movie episode. They were going to run off on Ed Lauder with the money. But the way that this was working was that the bad guy, Bowl-Cut, was going to hide the diamonds in his customers' shit, like their tennis rackets, and I think they even said tennis balls. Those customers are going to take those things through customs, and then they are going to steal it from the customer, from the resort guest, after they're through customs somewhere in the United States.
Yeah.
There's no mention of the bad guy who's going to come and kill Bowl-Cut and Jerry. And there's no mention of the rash of returning home resort customers being burgled or whatever. Like,
yeah.
Ugh. But then we have time for one last joke.
Oh, that was so good.
Wally puts his hands in the fish tank, and Jack's like, you got to be pretty brave. Put your hand in a tank of piranha. And Wally pulls his hands out all scared, and everybody laughs because fucking Wally, right? Like, what are you going to do? And that is it. That is the end of
That is
Automan.
it. That is it. So it was not written in the knowledge of it being canceled or them not doing any more episodes. There was no grand send-off for Otto. He just disappeared like it was the end of any episode.
There was no imprisonment for Cursor.
There was no imprisonment for Cursor. There was no real resolution to the Wally-Roxanne relationship.
That's all in our heads. Like,
no, there was a scene where she was crawling all over him.
I know. I
didn't just dream that, did I? If I'm having Automan dreams, that's fucked up.
Yeah. Okay, so there's one more thing. Let me see if I'm right here. Where is it? Come on now. Yes. Okay. So this was going to be my third point, and it wasn't, or one of my 3 points, and it wasn't because I checked it right before we started, and it wasn't on IMDb.
Okay.
But I finally noticed in this episode, executive story consultant, Jack Sowards, who I believe is Jack B. Sowards, who wrote Star Trek II Wrath of Khan, widely considered the best of the Star Trek movies. Automan is not on his IMDb.
I wonder why.
On IMDb, even though I'm looking at the screen right now, and it clearly says Jack Sowards, on the IMDb it says Jack Edwards was the executive story consultant. And I'm like, was that a typo? Or did they try to not have this on Jack B. Sowards' fucking resume?
Yikes.
Bringing back the tale of, in the early years of Breaking Bad, I heard an interview on NPR with Bryan Cranston where they were talking to him about his IMDb guest appearances. And he's like, man, when I started, there was no such thing as IMDb. You could do a shitty episode of TV and nobody'd fucking know about it. Like, it was fine. I could be on Chips, right? Like,
he was on a commercial.
I could be man in shorty shorts. Yeah.
We were watching some old commercials the other day, and he showed up on one. Everybody starts somewhere.
Something else the youth doesn't know is it took Bryan Cranston a long time to hit.
Yeah.
A long time to hit.
Yeah.
So there you go. So Automan is over. Fucking A. Are you gonna be okay?
I'm gonna be fine. I think this episode specifically was better than some of the episodes we've watched. So it's going out kind of in the middle, I think. Um, but it's not leaving me wanting more. So that's good.
No.
That's good.
Yeah.
And I'm actually excited about your announcement. Are we not
Our
going to do
next show is going to be okay. You're gonna have to cut that. You already have to cut all this up.
That's fine
because of your fucking. Because I'm like, I was gonna fuck with you, and then I was like, "What can I say that's really terrible?" And then I was like, "I can't think of anything to say that's really terrible right now. What am I gonna say?"
I didn't fall for the ethnic slurs trap you tried to set for me, so.
I didn't think you were going to fall for the ethnic slurs trap. You aren't,
Yeah, I
you're
try
not
my
a
best.
dude, first of all. So
I try my best not to be a dude and not to
be
a racist.
You would be editing it out all the time.
Yeah.
So, okay. Our next show will be Morton and Hayes from the creators of This Is Spinal Tap. 1990?
91, I think?
believe. 1991.
It's up on my
wiki. This one. Okay.
It is CBS. It is from 91, July to August. Oh my God. Whew. I forgot how short it was.
6 episodes. So we're actually going to be doing a 2-part next season. The first part's going to be Morton and Hayes. The second part is going to be Police Squad.
Yay!
So I think there are only 6 or 8 of those.
I think 6, yeah.
It's not going to, yeah. So we will figure out our recording schedule on that, but or our release schedule on that. But yes, so Morton and Hayes, it is Kevin Pollak and
Bob Amaral and what's his name? Rob Reiner.
Reiner introducing.
I'm excited about a lot of special guests. It's like a repertory company style show, which I like, where they use the same actors in different roles. I really, really like that concept. I think it's going to be funny.
Yeah. The gag is that they've just rediscovered another classic Hollywood comedy duo. And so Rob Reiner is introducing these old films. Pick this one because I watched it when it was on TV when I was 12 and 13.
Nice.
So, yes, I was like, I remember this. This is where I first saw Kevin Pollak.
I don't remember the first time I saw Kevin Pollak. I did not watch this show, but I fear the second part, the Police Squad from the creators of Airplane, might have a different tone to it and might be have a lot of problematic things to talk about.
Do you think, I mean, are they all alt-right neo-Nazis now or just 2 of them?
I don't know, but Leslie Nielsen's dead, so we'll never know his fate, and he's the only one I really care about. I love him.
Do you want to watch his Christian movies next? Because he did some Christian movies.
Oh, no.
Sorry. But he was, based on my recollection of the podcast discussing it, he was very clearly in declining mental health and just doing whatever they told him. So he was just an exploited
old person.
He was just an abused elder. Yeah. So he's Canadian anyway. Right? Like he can't vote.
He's cute. He's a cute old man. Oh my God. He was not so cute when he was really old. Okay. Anyway. We'll be editing. I'll be editing a lot. Okay. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited about the next time. About the next season.
So yes, Automan. I don't know. Whatever. Don't watch Automan.
But watch our version of Automan. Wait for
our remake.
Yeah.
Yes, watch our version of Automan with Lee Pace. Who else is going to be in it? Lee Pace. Jean Smart
as Wally's mom, because you have a whole reimagining of the storyline.
Yes.
Was it Dave Krumholtz who's going to be Wally?
David Krumholtz is Wally. Okay. Yes. Asif Mandavi is a new character, Wally's friend. We're doing a female police captain.
I didn't have
And
anything in mind, but I was thinking
yeah, and
since
then we never.
you had mentioned a throuple between
Yes.
Wally, Automan, and Roxanne, and I think Roxanne should be played by Nicole Byer. I think one, it would be hilarious, and two, she'd be totally into a throuple. I think with Dave Krumholtz and Lee Pace. So
Okay.
she's a little bit younger than
And
Krumholtz, but you know, it's Hollywood.
it's Hollywood. And the spoiler of that is Roxanne. I'm going to spoil this for everybody before we sell our idea. Roxanne, Wally's mom is the computer genius, the holographic programmer in this one. She makes Automan for to help her out, but she makes Roxanne as a hologram, so her little son so her 40-year-old virgin has a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
Lots of layers.
Yeah,
lots of layers.
I love the idea of a holographic, hologrammic, Nicole Byer. I don't know. That makes me laugh.
All right. Well,
okay.
Call us up, Hollywood.
Yeah.
We're ready for the relaunch. And
all right.
On that note,
see you next time.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Cursor out.